There. Hi. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I've already done one video today on my phone, which was absolutely perfect, I assure you, and the file was too big to upload. So now I'm going to try it on the laptop and we'll see how I do. My name's Beth MacMichael and I am a retired teacher. Um, it's the only career I ever had. I had a lot of summer jobs before I got to teaching, but this is the thing that I fell into right after university, and it has been a career that has served me well. How did I decide to teach? I probably was born teaching. My brothers and sisters would tell you that. But I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do. I took a history degree at Mount Allison, and when I finished, I thought, what do I do with this? I guess I'd like to just keep telling people about the stuff that I know, and maybe teaching will let me do that. So I headed off to become a high school teacher and thought that I could just tell kids about the kings and queens of England and be happy. And instead, what happened was my first job involved not just history, but I taught geography and junior high social studies and, yes, a number of things. And I very quickly learned that although the material was exciting to me, it was actually teaching students that was the most important. So over time, as I ended up teaching a wide variety of things depending on the needs of the school, everything from grade 8 science to grade 9 computer science, and in the high school, all kinds of different social studies courses. It really became what I could do for the students. And if I got to teach material that was my favorite, which turned out to be actually geography in the end, then that was just a bonus. So how do you decide whether teaching is the career that you would like? There are all kinds of things that I'd like you to consider. You really need to understand the job. First of all, you really do need to have a lot of knowledge. But it isn't always just the knowledge of the things that you're going to teach. You need to know how to learn. So you practice that in your own degree and you take all kinds of interesting courses, but you have to have this idea that you go on learning even after you finish your education degree. So you do a 4-year BA now and a 2-year Bachelor of Education, and then you keep on learning. I went on afterwards while I was in the classroom to do a master's in education, and then I took a year of sabbatical and I did some geography courses and also some geographic education courses where I learned about the psychology of spatial thinking, which I found fascinating. And in the last 12 years, I spent a lot of my time learning about things in the International Baccalaureate program, which didn't just include the subject, which was geography or extended essay or theory of knowledge, but also best teaching practices, how to help students get the skills that they need, because that is what teaching is about. Students need you to be a lifelong learner. If you want to be a teacher, you need to understand that that curiosity and that desire to do more and to understand more is what we need in our society. And students need teachers who are mentors and role models in that. And I would say that my teaching career really showed me and showed my students that I never got tired of learning something new. I was always trying to improve the way in which I explain things to students, but also I just liked to learn new things. Hence my second crack at the video. I'm going to keep at this until I get it right. One of the things on the list that I was suggested that I might tell you about was a typical day. You people know a lot of teachers. You've seen a lot of teachers. Well, you maybe haven't seen any lately, but you've seen a lot of teachers in your career. And you kind of know what they do. And you kind of probably know what this is that I'm going to tell you. And that is that I don't know if there is a typical day. Every teaching job is different. Teaching primary isn't anything like teaching grade 6. Teaching grade 7 isn't anything like teaching grade 12. So right there, a typical day depends on what level you're teaching. It also depends on the makeup of the classes in front of you, because teaching one grade 12 class is not like teaching another grade 12 class. Teaching in one school is not like teaching in another school. Every school has its own physical environment, but every school also has its own social and cultural environment, depending on the makeup of the staff and the student body, and the history of the school, the traditions that they've built. So right there, again, typical is very difficult. But even in my individual career, a typical day might be defined by the bell schedule. It might be defined by the students who come in, but every day has got some different things. Not only different things that I mix up, so the way in which I teach my lessons or, the activities that I do, but also in the things that I don't expect. I don't know what kind of things are going to come up. If somebody is going to find the frustration of what we're doing too much and decide to take issue with me. Sometimes there might be something exciting outside of my classroom. I have been known to step into the middle of a fight. You also don't know what kind of exciting things are going to happen in terms of positives. So when is somebody going to make a move, and when is a student going to make a move that is a leap forward for them, and I get to enjoy that. Just so many things that mean that my days are not typical. I really like a fast-paced day, so I don't mind that things change from one day to the next. I don't mind that unexpected things come up. I do mind if I have a whole lesson based around the computer and the computer won't work and I have to waste my time trying to fix it. But at the end of the day, if I've learned something about fixing technology, I don't consider it to be lost time. So, typical day. I don't know. It depends on you and what goes on with you and your students. What do I see as the most exciting stuff that I do? I think developing critical thinking is essential. If I can get students to stop just taking in the stuff that we give and thinking about it in a way that means they analyze what they learn and what it can mean. That's really important. But also self-management. A teacher's job is to help students learn without the teacher. We're the support, the scaffolding while you're in school, but we're supposed to be working to make ourselves obsolete. And you resist us. We know you do. You resist being taught how to break things down and self-regulate and get your own things done the way that we ask you to. Adults resist that also. And so that's kind of fun as a teacher, to find ways to help you overcome the resistance to being shaped or being encouraged to shape yourselves, if that makes sense. Pay scale. People want to know what teachers get paid. And it's both fine as a pay and not enough in another sense. Because if you're doing it because you think the salary is good, and you can check on the internet to see what teachers make, it's not enough to make up for it if you don't like the job. The same as it's not enough to get 2 months off in the summer if you don't like the job. It's a job that requires commitment, and it can be very, very daunting if you don't enjoy the things that come along with that commitment. So I do say the pay is enough. The vacations, well, the time off is enough. They're not really vacations. Teachers get paid for 195 days. And the government just agreed to stretch it out over the 12 months so we wouldn't have to go 2 months without any money, and we also aren't eligible for collecting employment insurance. So that's how that pay works. Also think about whatever career you choose, are you going to have a work-lifestyle balance? And again, it's really important that you like the job. I liked what I did, even when it was demanding and hard in terms of what it took for me to do the things, and also in terms of time. But I read this great piece on happiness the other day that said that happiness is best achieved when you can get into the ideal flow, which is kind of like the zone. And I'm sure you've been there in some of your activities. And when you're doing lesson planning or marking or working with students, and you find that zone, you don't even realize how fast time is going. And that is a thing that contributes to your personal happiness and makes it worthwhile putting all of that extra stuff in. So I achieved that in teaching, and it's worth it if that's what you get from teaching, but it's always going to be challenging. So good luck with your career choices, and if you choose teaching, I hope you like it as much as I did.